Hi everybody, and welcome to Wendy's Witness. Are you checking off the boxes? Are you doing all the so-called right things? You think you're a good person. To everyone from the outside looking in, it appears that all is in order. However, these are not the things that God looks at. No, He looks at the heart. What are those things hidden in our hearts? Keep watching today as we take a look at some lessons from the life of Judas, the Benedict Arnold of his time. Judas was an insider. He had access to Jesus. Judas was blinded by greed and sold out for a measly 30 pieces of silver. Just as a lousy example, could you imagine selling a painting worth $450 million for, say, 30 bucks? That's why Jesus says, "What does it profit a man to gain the whole world and yet lose his soul?" It's illogical, yet millions upon millions of people do it every day. They value the almighty dollar over the Almighty. When Mary poured out her jar of perfume on Jesus, Judas was outraged because he could only see dollar signs instead of seeing the display of love and devotion to the Lord. He was about to pay the ultimate price for Mary's soul, along with anyone else who had eyes to see the value of the sacrifice Jesus would make by laying his life down to save the world. Lesson: if you have Jesus, you have all that you will ever need. Just say the name Benedict Arnold, and immediately the word traitor comes to mind. Arnold has been branded a Judas, just about the biggest insult you could have. Real talk, the last thing anyone would ever call me is a history buff. So, when the Lord started talking about Judas, I was familiar. But Benedict Arnold? Now I had to look into that. Honestly, the first video I watched put me to sleep. But when I Googled him, something popped up that piqued my interest. It said, "The Battle of Saratoga, fought in 2 stages on September 19th and October 7th, 1777, proved to be a turning point in the American struggle for independence. It also had a direct impact on the career of General George Washington." So here's the connection. Israel and America, October 7th. Hamas attacks Israel. March 25th, America abstains from voting. March 28th, the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapses. Francis Scott Key, who wrote the Star-Spangled Banner. Lesson: if America turns its back on Israel, becomes a traitor, America will be judged. As you all know, America has been marked. Eclipses spanned from coast to coast. God speaks through signs in the sky. Joel 2:31 and 32 says, "The sun will be turned to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes. Then everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved, for there will be an escape." What escape will there be? Harpazo, the snatch away. When Philip baptized the eunuch in Acts 8:39, the Spirit of the Lord carried him away, taking him to a town called Azotus, which means fortress. This is a perfect picture of what's to come. Those people who are saved, having an indwelling of the Holy Spirit, will be caught up and taken to heaven as a means of escape from the tribulation, the great and terrible day of the Lord, where we will be with our King in his fortress. According to Strong's Concordance, the Hebrew word for fortress is matsud, H4686, which means net, castle, defense, strong place. Soon the net will be full, 153 fish. The fullness of the Gentile will be complete. Lesson. Look at how long the 2024 eclipse was over the city called Rapture, Indiana. 3 minutes and 51 seconds. So back to Judas. He's got a lot in common with someone soon coming on the scene. Luke 22:3 tells us, then Satan entered Judas, surnamed Iscariot, who was numbered among the 12. Now we see proximity does not mean squat. Just like sitting in a garage doesn't make you a car, sitting in church doesn't make you a Christian. But also those closest to us can sometimes hurt us the most. Make sure you're loving like Jesus. In John 17:12, Jesus calls Judas the son of perdition, which is also one of the names given to the Antichrist, who will also be entered by Satan. Let's make sure our hearts are ready for the return of Christ, living for Him, loving Him, watching and waiting, awake and aware of the time we're in. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you. I'll see you next week. And remember, we are all witnesses.